Hello, people. Hey, so it's Zverev versus Davidovich Fokina, and this is a really, really interesting one. It's 2 games all, and Zverev, that we had a bit of a controversial, let's say, point just there where Zverev thought the ball had gone long, and that would have given him the break, but the line judge disagreed, and he had a bit of a, let's say, more of a jokey interaction, but he couldn't believe it, really. He couldn't believe that she hadn't given him the point, and she was like, "Look, the ball's out," and had a little bit of a laugh, but I think it was more hysterical, to be honest with you. John, thank you very much for tuning in. He goes, "Hello again. Anyone home?" Yeah, I mean, this match just kept on getting pushed back. I mean, I was thinking I'm just going to be talking uh, about nothing. Well, I was watching the women's quarterfinal as well, which was really cool, but I wasn't planning on covering that and this one as well together. So I just thought, look, I may as well get some stuff done before this one starts. 2 games all here though, and Alexander Zverev is someone who has been in really good form so far in this tournament so far. I think he's been quite impressive, actually, for the most part as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing Zverev just kind of be solid, because we've seen a couple of breaks of serve from both. Davidovich Fokina actually broke Zverev in the first game of the set so far. So, yeah, let's see. It'll be interesting. But you know what? Let's see. Let's see. Davidovich Fokina seems to have a fantastic drop shot as well. I mean, they're saying he's got the best on tour, and he does seem to have a really good drop shot, which I'm pretty partial to as well. I do love a good drop shot. So Andy Murray obviously had an amazing one back in the day, and Davidovich Fokina seems to have a fantastic one as well. So that seems to be something that I'm enjoying watching so far. But he just seems a very solid player as well. It's not just his ground strokes. It's not just his drop shot. It's his ground strokes as well. He just seems a very kind of all-round solid player, which is good. So fingers crossed we get a competitive match here. And it seems to be that we are, because Davidovich Fokina is now 40-15 up on Zverev's serve. 2 breakpoint opportunities to go break up once again. Zverev is under pressure here. He needs a couple of really big first serves. It's a double breakpoint opportunity for the Spanish player, and he goes down the tee to the backhand of Davidovich Fokina, and then good slice from Davidovich. I'm just going to call him Davidovich because Davidovich Fokina is too long, and really good backhand from Zverev, and then Davidovich as well. Into out forehand, Zverev gets across, just manages to get that loopy forehand in, and then Davidovich Fokina can only go long with the forehand on the run, trying to go down the line, trying to go for the winner, and he saves one break point. There was one forehand by Zverev which was quite loopy, but had enough topspin on it, managed to drop in. So interesting from the German, and he is looking to save another break point here. Goes out wide to the backhand and then misses the forehand. Oh, it's a dry volley on the forehand side. It's a pretty easy one, but I have seen him miss quite a few of those over the last few years. It's something that I think he can work on slightly. It's easy for me to say that now, but it's definitely something that I've seen on big points. So Davidovich is now a breakup once again. Zverev is definitely not having his own way. And I think he's maybe not enjoying the mix and the kind of change of play and variety, I think is the right word, that Davidovich Fokina is presenting to him at the moment. I think the backhand slice, the drop shots as well, he's trying to disrupt Zverev's rhythm. And Zverev is very much a rhythm player. He's someone who feeds off having someone play, at a certain pace where, rhythm is key really for him. And that's why, you see, for example, he won't really serve many doubles, etc., when, someone is basically just playing at one pace. But if they're really disturbing him and they're disrupting his play, which for him is very kind of orthodox, to be honest with you. He's got pretty big serve. He does have a big serve. He's got a very solid forehand and backhand when it's firing, and he kind of does everything. I would say like a 6 as well. I would say he does everything like a 7 out of 10. He's very pretty good at the net as well. So yeah, it's interesting. So 3-2 to Davidovich Fokina, and a break-up serving here goes out wide to the Zverev forehand. Now a fantastic drop shot, and he's utilizing that so amazingly. It's just ridiculous. The thing is, what it does, if you can utilize it effectively and at the right times, what it does, it cuts points down. So it definitely conserves his energy, and also it disrupts the rhythm of the German, which is exactly what it seems to be doing right now. Zverev, I think he's a very good mover, to be fair, for a big guy, but he is getting kind of outplayed at the net there. So I think he needs to improve on that and maybe not give so many loopy balls to Davidovich Fokina. Davidovich Fokina going for another drop shot here, this time off the backhand side. So again, it was kind of like he had a lot of time to Davidovich Fokina, and Zverev is giving him that time. And he needs to be a little bit better with that. He needs to strike the ball, at angles, make sure that he's making Davidovich Fokina run. Because trying to play a drop shot whilst stretching for the ball on the forehand side, for example, pace is not easy. So, he needs to get him in uncomfortable positions, just like Davidovich Fokina is getting Zverev. Forehand to forehand exchanges and tries to go down the line, does Davidovich Fokina, but misses it and actually nets the forehand. So 30-15 on his serve. So Zverev has got a little inroad here at 30-15 up. Forehand unforced errors 4 so far for Davidovich. So clearly something that is not as solid as Zverev, who's only got 1 so far. But in saying that, it's not too far into this set so far. Good backhand from Zverev cross court. Then again, cross court. I never realized how loud Zverev was when he strikes the ball. He's damn loud. He's like as loud as someone like Azarenka. Oh, good net play here from both. Oh, I think Zverev probably should have put that away earlier, but he manages to survive. And I think Davidovich is like, what am I doing? Because he just pinged it straight and good volley there from Zverev, and then there's another volley, and he just can't seem to get past the the tower that is Zverev. He goes for a couple of backhands down the line, and Zverev just manages to retrieve those. So good stuff from the German, and he actually now opens up 2 break points of his own. So it's 2 break back points even, for the German. So really impressive. Oh, tries to go cross court. Pretty ambitious, I think, by the young German player. He's going to have a look at the mark. This will be interesting. Let's see what he says. Just coming down, just having him. I think the umpire and Zverev, they definitely know. They definitely, obviously played. He's played games where she's officiated before, because you can just tell like she's. They've got this slight familiarity, and she doesn't mind telling him, you know what, you're wrong. That's exactly what she was doing in one of the previous games, where he was just screaming blue murder, really. So 40-30 to Zverev here. So breakpoint opportunity. Davidovich saving 1. And but can only net the backhand. So it's a break back. Really impressive stuff from the German. Much better. Although in saying that, I have to be honest with you, I think it was more just poor play from the Spaniard, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. It was, riddled with unforced errors, that game there, that service game. It'd be quite disappointing. You can see the look on his face. He just cannot believe it. He just surrendered a break point. Well, he's surrendered 2 breaks of serve, and now it's 3-all. So he's probably thinking, look, I keep on breaking him and then just letting him break me back, and what the heck am I doing? So, yeah, not ideal. I wonder as well what you guys think in terms of Zverev kind of going forward, because I think he is someone who, look, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do kind of, going forward. I'm really, really intrigued how far he can go, not just in this slam, but for the rest of the slams in the year. Of course, he's made 1 slam final before, but lost it to Thiem in a pretty, let's say, tense affair, to say the least. But yeah, Zverev has only got a 40% first serve percentage right now. He's struggling with the first serves. And his serve is a weapon, but only when it's firing and in rhythm. So he needs to find that rhythm again, and he does here with a fantastic serve down the tee on the juice side to the backhand of Davidovich, and he can only put the backhand long after Zverev comes in with a huge into-out forehand. Really, really good stuff. Colin J says support PL. Support PL. Who's that? Let me know. But yeah, Zverev 40 love up here, and this is a much better service game from one of the players at least, because both guys have been struggling to hold serve, which has just been crazy to think about, really. Absolutely crazy. Right, so he serves to love, or holds to love even. Right, so Collie MJ says support please. I don't know. Are you saying to support me? If so, yes, please do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I think most people have now, but please do like the video. It does help this video get out there to other people so we can get as many people in the chat as possible, of course, which would be nice. Right, so Davidovich is an interesting player, though, and he looks like someone who obviously knows his game. He seems to be quite solid. The one thing I would say is that we have someone on our hands in Zverev who should be able to blow him off the court. But in saying that, look, I mean, let's see, because it's a crazy one to think about. So what Medvedev's playing Tsitsipas. So whoever wins that will play the winner of this. So realistically, do we see Zverev beating either Tsitsipas or Medvedev if he gets through this? That's what actually I want you guys to tell me actually what you think, because I'm not sure. I would probably edge towards Medvedev or Tsitsipas over Zverev. I don't know what you guys think, but that's kind of where I'm at with it, to be honest with you. Which I don't know if that sounds crazy to say, but because Zverev is a very solid player, but I just feel like those guys are slightly in front, even though Medvedev hasn't obviously had any wins at the French Open before this year. I feel like just the fact that he's number 2 and the form that he's in as well, and he's just very, very solid. I genuinely feel that Zverev would struggle, and I feel like those two are the stronger ones out of the three. But let me know whether you agree as well, because it's interesting to know people's opinions on it. Right, Davidovich goes into the net with the serve. Here we go. All right, goes out wide to the backhand. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a bad forehand by Zverev. At times, it's not laziness. I think it's just he's got such long levers. He will just stretch his right leg out, for example, to hit a forehand rather than kind of getting round it properly, because he knows, oh, I can just I can just ping that. So yeah, but yeah, really, really good. Okay, Davidovich, 30 love up now, and at 4-3, or really good into the body, good serve, then pings the forehand cross court. Then it's another drop shot. Oh, you know what? If he'd made that, which he was actually very close to doing, to be fair, on that opportunity, Zverev was getting nowhere near that one. Just a little bit too much on that drop shot, and I think he's getting frustrated because at the start he was being so good with the drop shots. The thing is, you've got to be pretty pinpoint and precise, and he was at the start, but now he's starting to lose a bit of that accuracy that he had on them. And when it's not working, then you just think, oh, I should just play a normal shot, right? It's just one of those shots that if you don't execute it properly, you just look really stupid playing it. Good topspin forehand cross court by Davidovich Fokina, then tries to go down the line, goes big, but misses that one. So interesting. Right, so at 30 all here, Davidovich is under a bit of pressure, 4-3. So still on serve. The Spaniard looking to ensure that he doesn't get broken once again, because there've just been a lot of breaks of serve. But it opens up another breakpoint opportunity as his backhand goes long. So, 30-40 down his serve. He's probably he looks completely fed up. And this, to me, is not a good sign, though, because he's already getting really frustrated and we're only at 4-3 in the first set. To me, that shows a little bit of mental weakness. And I might be harsh by saying that, but I don't think I am. I think that's pretty accurate, that if you see your opponent going, sighing, can't believe this, what am I doing, from kind of ball one, then, and see, look, there we go. He's just got broken again. He's chucked his racket and it's bounced and it's gone into the crowd, and someone in the crowd just passed it back to him. This is what I mean. Like, you can't be doing this. Zverev's thinking, I'm going to eat this up, mate. This is mine now. Because Davidovich is how can you get this frustrated about it? It's a good opportunity, of course. He's unseeded. He's doing well in this tournament. He's got to the quarters, but can't be just like, he's got a bad temper. Relax, man. It's a big stage, right? Take a deep breath and find your rhythm and game again. But Zverev now serving for the set after getting another break of serve. So he's one break up here and serving at 5-3, but nets the backhand. It's quite a bad miss by Zverev. It's a shorter return from Davidovich, and Zverev goes for the backhand cross court from a central position on the court and just nets that. So 15-love down his service game here so far, and a let first serve as he tries to go big into the backhand of the Spaniard. What do people think of the chains on Zverev? He's wearing quite a lot of gold, isn't he? Very interesting. It's quite he dresses very throwback with his hair and his chains. It's just very, it's very like 70s. Is that right? 70s, maybe 80s, 90s. I don't know. I'm not old enough to be able to tell you exactly what year. As Zverev comes into the net on a second serve, decent drop volley, but Davidovich does really well at the net there. Good reactions, and he opens up 30-love on Zverev's serve. So it's good second serve, and he comes forward. Davidovich made it hard on the return there. It was a low return. Zverev got forward to it, but had to kind of just play a half volley at dink over the net, and Davidovich reads then the second backhand volley and puts away the forehand volley into the open net. Oh, big serve from Alexander Zverev. And Narendra M says, "Oh, Shyam." Fair enough. What does that mean? Let me know. I feel like people are talking in symbols, in mystical things. Let me know. Guys, please let me know what you think of Zverev as well, and also the French Open so far. And of course, please do remember to like this video just to get the channel out there. And if you haven't already done so, please do remember to subscribe as well. Again, that's the channel to grow. We are growing pretty quickly now, so it'll be fantastic if you guys could like the channel and subscribe if you haven't already, which I know quite a few of you have even, sorry, as Zverev brings it back to 30 all from 30-love down. So really good stuff from the young German. What do people think of his service action? It's quite basic, isn't it? In the sense that it's not very orthodox. It seems very, very basic, but it works for him. He's tall. He does serve from high angle. He tends to, I think, struggle with the toss, which is why then he'll get the yips with the serve, which he's tend to get at times in big matches. Zverev then, so it's a shorter backhand slice from Davidovich. Zverev comes forward, gets round the backhand, and goes to rip the forehand into the forehand of Davidovich as he comes into the net after an approach shot, clips the net cord and goes long. So a bit of misfortune there for the German. It's another breakpoint opportunity, but this time for the Spaniards. So it's a break back opportunity. And we've had breakpoints flying around like nobody's business in this set so far. It's been crazy. Both these guys just don't want to hold serve, clearly. So first serve goes out by Zverev. Big serve, though. 219 Ks. Huge. Zverev, though, is 30-40. And he double fault. I told you. Got the yips. I was not surprised. It's his third double fault. His serve is really, really struggling. And you just can't afford this. And I said this yesterday with Nadal. And Nadal, though, to be fair, it's very rare that that happens with him in Grand Slam, like big Grand Slam matches. But with Zverev, it seems to happen, unfortunately, in like really poor, um, well, sorry, in really bad, just bad timing, really, when it happens. To be honest with you, it happens in quarterfinals, semi-finals of Grand Slams, happens in finals of Masters tournaments as well. Like it doesn't always happen, but it's a regular thing, which he's known for having problems with his serve and going through periods where he'll get the yips and he'll serve like 2, 3 doubles in a row, which is for a professional player seems absolutely crazy, right? Yes, it is definitely a mental thing, 100%, but I think it's also it's something that he needs to work on in terms of his toss and repetition. And it sounds crazy to say, but because surely he's there just serving like constantly. Surely. So then is it just a mental thing then? Makes me think that maybe it is. I don't know, but it's crazy. Anyway, 5-4 here, back on serve. So Davidovich now has a chance to serve to stay in the set after Zverev missed the opportunity to serve to win the set. Now, just have a look at the stats. So no aces from each. Now, that's surprising because Zverev's got a really big serve. But as I said, he's been pretty poor with the first serve percentage. And you can see that here. So 3 double faults and 43%. Crazy, absolutely crazy from him. Like not good enough from him, and he'll be really disappointed because his serve is a weapon that he needs to utilize. To be honest with you, so we are 4-5 here, and Coley MJ says you can also try the ATP trial if you want. Okay, what's that? Let me know. Oh, good, very very good from Davidovich. Good depth from his ground strokes. Same with Zverev as well. Oh, Davidovich tries to go down the tee though, or down the line, sorry, even with the forehand, but misses it, goes wide. Coming up to the net, he wants to have a look, wants to make sure it's definitely out. And the chair umpire, points at the mark, and he has to walk back the Spaniard. He's got quite a throwback haircut as well, actually, to be fair. Davidovich, doesn't he? Davidovich Fokina. Both these guys are kind of throwback players in their attire, I would say. Zverev as well with the vest, the black vest. It's funny because there's an interview where he says, "I could never wear a vest like Rafa Nadal because of my physique. Like I've got such skinny arms, like I would look ridiculous in it." And then obviously a couple of years later, then he started wearing them. It's so funny. So people are like, "Yeah, right." Or that goes long. I thought that was long, but it's not. Oh, Davidovich Fokina goes long with the forehand down the line. Colin MJ says that's a trial to get selected in the ATP Tour. I thought you were a tennis player. I am a tennis player, but I'm not a professional tennis player. Though I'm okay. I'm decent, but I play at my club. But I'm not I'm not a professional tennis player, unfortunately. Do I sound like one? If I do, then that's fantastic because obviously it sounds like professional. And I mean, I know what I'm talking about in terms of tennis because I've studied it a lot, and also um, I used to be a Wimbledon junior up until the age of like 11, 12, but since then, stopped playing at 12 and then just played locally now. Boston Sider says, "Hey, how's it going? It's going really well. Going really well. Thank you very much for tuning in, Boston Sider. That's a really cool name, by the way. That can't be your actual name? Is it your actual name? No, 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 it can't be. Boston Sider. No, no. It's good though. How you? Colin MJ says, which racket do you use? I use a Babolat. Yeah, like my boy Rafa Nadal. It's a Babolat Pure Drive from what year? Babolat Pure Drive from, I want to say it's a Babolat Pure Drive from 2018 or 2019. One of those years. Justin Hines says Wilson over Babolat. Fair enough. I did used to use Wilson. I mean, I think it's just each their own, isn't it? To be honest. I think some people prefer Wilson, some people prefer Babolat, some people prefer Head even. I think everyone's got different like styles of games and different I think feels as well. You've got hands as well. If you're more of a ground stroke player, then you might prefer a specific racket. If you're more someone who likes to serve volley, or if you're someone who's more kind of touch or feel, or if you want more power or precision, like those are all different things. I mean, realistically, I'm not I'm not a professional tennis player, so I don't think it probably makes too much difference what racket if I use. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, but I think it's probably makes a small percentage of a difference. But at the end of the day, I'm not a professional tennis player. These guys, I'm sure it does. But 40-30 here for Zverev, and he's got a set point and a break point to take the set. And Davidovich is struggling here to hold. He's just struggled to hold throughout the whole set, though, hasn't he? Really. Justin says, "I personally use a Yonex." Nice. They're classic ones, though, aren't they? Yoanexes. I mean, they've been around for ages, and they're all really good for badminton rackets as well. They're just good rackets. And Davidovich, nets the backhand. And to be honest, he has been really, really, really poor. Zverev shakes his head, right? Because I think he's disappointed with how he's playing that set. Davidovich Fokina shakes his head because he's disappointed with how he's playing that set. That's been a pretty poor set of tennis, to be honest, quality-wise, I'm being honest with you. Like, let's have a look at the stats, actually, for the set as well, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be quite damning for both players. Right, here we go. Lovely. Look at this lovely set of tennis. 6-4. Aces, 0 for both. 3 double faults for Zverev, 2 for Davidovich Fokina. First set percentage, only 43% for Zverev, 47% for Davidovich Fokina. So both under 50%. This is what I mean. Like, both have been serving horrifically. I'm not even joking. Like, it's been pretty bad. First serve points won, only 58% for Zverev, 56% for Davidovich Fokina. Second serve points won, 44% for Zverev, 28% for Davidovich Fokina. Wow. Oh, wow. Breakpoint saved. Look, I mean, they've been 14 breakpoint opportunities. Ridiculous. First return points won. Doesn't mean too much to me, really. Winners. Here we go. This is where it gets even more interesting. Let's go down here. Winners 5 for Zverev, 8 for Davidovich Fokina. That's all those drop shots telling you. But 11 unforced errors for Zverev, 17 for Davidovich Fokina. Net points won 50%, 67%. I mean, this makes terrible reading. It really does. And to be honest, it definitely, it's funny, like you say in sport, a lot of the time stats don't mean everything, and it doesn't always tell the whole story. The stats for this set definitely tell the whole story, to be fair. Justin Haranes says, still laugh when I see the hold on one second. Looking forward to Tsitsipas Medvedev. Yeah, that's going to be an absolute cracker, to be honest with you. Although it starts at 8 p.m. here in the UK, so I probably won't be able to cover that because the timing is just not fantastic. But that is going to be a crack. I'll be watching, though, like, somehow if I'm not streaming it. But that'll be such a good. I mean, that's the pick'em, though, really. I shouldn't say that because I'm streaming this other quarterfinal, but but no, it is 100%. Let's be honest, and they really do dislike each other, which makes it even more funny, to be honest with you. Justin says, "I still laugh when I see the Medvedev clip." Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, it's so funny. Man, you better shut your it's also because he gets his syntax wrong as well, so he says the words in like the wrong order, and it just makes it sound even funnier. It's just hilarious. That's so good. But both guys really dislike each other. I think they definitely have respect each other in terms of tennis players, but apart from that, I have no respect for each other whatsoever outside of the court. But yeah, 6-1 is the head-to-head as well between Medvedev and Tsitsipas. But on the clay, I do slightly edge towards Tsitsipas, and I feel like he's matured quite a bit in the last maybe year, and also he's had pretty good clay court swing. So I would say, he edges it for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if Medvedev wins it, to be honest with you, because he seems to have a slight mental edge over Tsitsipas, and in terms of obviously the head-to-head might play on Tsitsipas's mind as well, which probably doesn't help. 40 love up here for Zverev in his service game, and he started off well. He needs to just come out and really assert his authority, I think, on the serve, because as soon as he starts doing that, then Davidovich has to either lift his level to the same way, or if he doesn't, then Zverev will just run away from it. But Zverev is, you'd think he's the better player in terms of ability-wise, and the golf in class should start to show as the match wears on, but you never know. You never know. Guys, as well in the chat, please remember to like this video just to make sure it gets out to as many people as possible. Thank you very much. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much. Justin says, what happened to Kyrgios? So his mum, I think, has a very... His mum's like terminally ill. And so with the like COVID restrictions, he didn't really want to travel too much because he used to see her like every day, and like look after her and like keep her company, etc. So I think he wasn't too keen on traveling, staying in bubbles for like large periods of time, etc. But to be honest with you, in saying that, he is. I think he's going to play Wimbledon. I think he was originally going to play the French Open, but then he pulled out. So I think if it wasn't for the pandemic, he'd be playing. But it's just because of his situation, which is fair enough. Like, there are bigger things in sport, I guess, in the world. Justin says he's too busy on Twitch, or it could be that, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and he's just playing Call of Duty on Twitch or something, or playing Fortnite on Twitch or something. Could be that, to be honest with you. Davidovich is 30 love up on his service game here, and he is really trying as well to find a bit of momentum on his service game, trying to make sure that he finds some good rhythm, goes out wide to the forehand of Zverev, and then Davidovich Fokina then goes to the backhand of Zverev. Really, really good, actually, so far, though, I would say, for Zverev in this set. It's a much better start anyway. He's looking a bit more solid, which is good. Which is good because you don't want to get to a position where you carry on the poor form that you started off in that first set and then expect to win a match. Like, yeah, it's just crazy. A quarterfinal as well of a Grand Slam. Like, these guys should be going at it hammer and tongs and really putting on a display. So let's see if they can do it in the second set, or at least one of them can raise their game even. Sorry. Zverev goes long with the backhand return. So 40-15 to Davidovich Fokina, the Spaniard. He's got very strong calves, hasn't he, Davidovich Fokina? I like him. Oh, it's poor from the Spaniard. Goes long with the forehand in the rally, just leaning back too much on the shot. Justin goes, you think Djokovic has a chance, or is Nadal too good? It's an interesting one, It's, to be honest with you, I mean, in saying that, like, both guys have to come through the respective quarterfinals tomorrow. So obviously Nadal has Schwartzman. I think that's probably the slightly easier one out of the two, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Even as a Nadal fan, like, I'm happy to admit that, as Davidovich Fokina seals the service game with a smash coming to the net. But Djokovic has got Berrettini. So Berrettini is someone who's been in form in the clay court swing. And to be honest with you, it's going to be interesting, that matchup, because he got a walkover against Federer, so he hasn't played. Now, that can go one of two ways. One, he could be one of those players who doesn't do well with having an extended break, and then even though he would have been training on practice courts, etc., it's not the same as playing a match, right? So will he come into that a bit cold against Djokovic and then start off slow? Or will it help him and then he'll actually start off quickly because he feels refreshed? Similarly, you have Djokovic, right, who's played nearly 5 sets against Musetti, some grueling tennis there, right? And now he has to face Berrettini. So I don't know how much effect they'll have on him. I don't think he'll have too much because he's just an incredible player and incredible, like, specimen. Like, let's be honest. But yeah, but let's say those two get through it, right? I see those two get through their respective quarterfinals, which you'd expect them to do. I think Nadal has the edge over Djokovic at the French Open. I think when it actually comes to clay court matches outside of the French Open, I feel like it's more like a 60-40 Nadal. I feel like when you get to the French Open, though, and it's Nadal versus Djokovic, I feel like it's more like a 75-25 Nadal. We're talking about like probability and percentages. Now, that's how I feel about it. And the reason why is I just feel like Nadal raises his game one notch more than he usually would do when he plays on the clay at the French Open. He just seems to find a level which he doesn't seem to be able to find anywhere else, but it's just such a high level that someone like Djokovic, who is actually a very, very good clay court player, I mean, Djokovic would have won so many Grand Slams at the French Open if it wasn't for Nadal. I'll tell you that right now. And then I just think it's a case of Nadal's probably slightly too strong, but I wouldn't count Djokovic out 100%. I wouldn't be surprised. I think as a Nadal fan, I'm like, look, Djokovic is a huge threat, but it's almost like a final. I think if Nadal gets through that, I would expect him to win. Whoever gets through that semi-final between Nadal and Djokovic, you then expect them to go on to win it, wouldn't you? Because they've got through probably their toughest test. The best thing for the bottom half of the draw, to say if you've got Tsitsipas or like Medvedev or Zverev, say they get through to the final and they get through with not too much wear and tear, then imagine Nadal and Djokovic, one of the two gets through, obviously, and say they play a 5-set thriller and it goes to like 13-11 in the final set. They'll be like great because they're worn down, and you know what? We've got a better chance of beating them, so that's what they'll be hoping for. Justin says Schwartzman gave Nadal a run for his money up until Nadal got the game suspended till the next day a couple of years ago. Yeah, Schwartzman's a good clay court player. I mean, he's beaten Nadal on the clay as well before. So, in saying that, right, I think, look, I genuinely think Schwartzman is a very solid player on the clay. I just feel like he doesn't quite have the weapons to hurt Nadal, and I feel like the grinders are the ones that Nadal doesn't have problems with. It's normally the guys who are big hitting servers or big off the ground, because there's not many people that can hit from the back of the court or dictate from the back of the court against Nadal. And the only person really that can, or two people that can, are Djokovic and Federer, really. And nowadays it's really just Djokovic, I'd say. Thiem sometimes as well when he's on song, but apart from that, I don't think anyone can in terms of like when you get into the grind. Because Thiem as well is different. He goes for his shots like a Tsitsipas or Zverev would do against Nadal, and they can give him problems. But the grinders, I just don't see it. Apart from Djokovic really giving him problems as a grinder, so I would expect Nadal to get through that. He might get through in 4 sets against Schwartzman, but I'd expect him to get through relatively comfortably. To be honest with you. Justin said Djokovic's last game was a false 5-set match. He won 2 sets in 40 minutes, losing 1 game. Yeah, it was. Yeah, true. That's true. And the last set only lasted until 4-love as well. To be fair, so yeah, So I agree. I think it was. It just crazy how the first 2 sets I think were like 2 hours and 50 or something like that, and then after that it just finished so quickly. I was like, what? Oh, really good net play from the Spaniard Davidovich Fokina. Really, really good. Unbelievable, actually. Really good reactions. Zverev did well to actually stay in the point there. But Davidovich Fokina, I mean, that's much better quality tennis from both. Shyam's Srinan says hi. Hi, Shyam. Thank you very much for joining again. Guys, keep the comments coming as well. Keep the likes coming as well to the video, of course. And the subs if you haven't already. Oh, long by Davidovich Fokina going big, trying to go big anyway on the forehand. He's trying, Davidovich Fokina, to make sure that he isn't playing second fiddle in the rallies and he's not getting blown away off the court. So he's going a bit bigger, I think, than he normally would, is what it looks like to me. That's what the Spaniard's trying to do. It doesn't quite seem to be working because he's got double the amount of unforced errors than Zverev, but I feel like it's probably the right play. Or is it? I mean, should he be grinding, and trying to make Zverev make mistakes? I don't know. Justin Hannah says you're a Nadal fan. Yeah, I mean Nadal's my favorite player, but I'm not that guy who will be like Nadal's the best. I hate Djokovic, Federer. No, like I like all the players. I think they're all amazing. So, Federer is unbelievable in his own right. Djokovic is incredible in his own right, and I think all three, no matter what Grand Slam numbers they end on, I think all three will have they'll definitely have a argument to be the GOATs of all time, or the greatest of all time. Even they'll each have an argument for that. As Zverev breaks down 3-1 to Alexander Zverev as he breaks Davidovich Fokina. So definitely finding his feet more. Davidovich Fokina still he's still struggling quite a bit on that serve. Is the Spaniard, which is unfortunate because I just feel like he doesn't quite have the weapons as Zverev, so he can't have that serve to lean back on or those big ground strokes to lean back on. It was the drop shot, but it started becoming ineffective as his accuracy diminished in that first set. So yeah, he's got his back against the wall here now for sure. Oh, shanks the forehand, though, Zverev. Pretty uncharacteristic for him so far in this set. So, yeah. Justin says, I like Monfils and Raonic. Nice. They're both quality. I mean, Monfils on his day is unbelievable. Raonic as well, huge server. Probably hasn't played, obviously, his best tennis in the last maybe year or so, but seems he's a dangerous player for sure. Monfils, I love watching him play. I would say actually, in terms of apart from Nadal, if there's people that I love watching actually play, is Kyrgios and Monfils. I would say. I love watching Kyrgios and Monfils play because they're so exciting. So, yeah. Right, 15 all here, or 15-30 even. Sorry. And Zverev. Oh, let's have a look. Zverev is just struggling a little bit in this game, which is interesting. Obviously, Davidovich Fokina trying to get the break back, which is, to be honest with you, I mean, he wasn't having an issue with it in the first set, was he? He just kept on breaking back constantly. So they were breaking each other constantly. Justin says, I ran into Raonic on holiday in Paris a couple of years back. That's really cool. What was he like? Let us know. And did you get his number so that I can interview him on this channel? That's the most important thing, Justin, is do you have contact with Milos Raonic so I can get him on the channel to interview him about his tennis career, of course. But no, on a serious day, yeah, let me know how he was. Like, was he a nice guy? He seems like a nice guy, but I mean, in saying that, I've never met him. Right, Zverev and Davidovich Fokina going at it in that previous point, and 30 all. Justin says one of my favorite matches was Nadal at Wimbledon 2019. Yeah, Nadal's. It's funny because obviously you don't really associate Nadal with grass or even the hard courts, but you forget like Nadal's won 2 Wimbledon titles. He's no slouch there, right? But it's just he's so dominant on the clay that, and his game is obviously a lot more suited to the clay that. You remember that, but he's beaten Federer, on the grass, which is an unbelievable feat. He's beaten Djokovic on the grass, but that was a long time ago, to be fair, like 2007, when Djokovic, well, they're both very young, and Nadal obviously he definitely progressed quicker when they were younger. I feel like Djokovic has aged better, if that makes sense. Justin says, "No, I got a selfie with him." Fair enough. Is he a nice guy though? I mean, if you got a selfie with him, he must be quite nice because he didn't mind. Zverev holding here, making sure that he consolidates the break, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. Well, I said the doctor, probably what his team ordered even, because they would have been saying to him, what the heck are you doing? Well, I say that, but you can't actually, the team can't say anything. Can't get coaching, can you? So they wouldn't have been saying anything. But I think they definitely would have been thinking it, probably giving him the evil eyes as well to tell him, look, what the hell are you doing? Can you please sort yourself out? Because Davidovich Fokina is not playing very well, but you're playing almost as badly as him. And you are struggling in this quarterfinal when we really want you to get through straight sets so that you can be fresh as possible for what will be an unbelievable showdown between either Medvedev or Tsitsipas, which will be a tough test for the Germans. So, for me, I've got one eye on that now because at 6-4 and 4-1 up, I mean, I say that, but stranger things have happened. Let's be honest. I mean, Nadal was like 5-2 down in one of the sets. Who was it against? It was against one of the previous rounds, actually, in the French Open. And then he came back and won the set. And I was like, fair enough. I was like, if he comes back from here, it was actually the first set of the first round against Poprin. Poprin, I'm pretty sure, was 5-2 up, and he came back and won it 7-5. Australian just messed that up big time, that's for sure. Messed it up big time. Anyways, Zverev is definitely finding his stride here. I think he's definitely found a little bit more form, a little bit more rhythm, and we know that he really feeds off that rhythm, does the German. I'm just interested to see what kind of level we can see, the highest level that we can see from him in this semi-final, and then kind of going forward, how will that put him in? Will it put him in enough of kind of? Would it put him in good enough form to then compete with Medvedev and Tsitsipas? I think is the most important thing, because I feel like those two. I don't know. Am I being harsh when I say that they might eat him alive? Or do you? I mean, maybe it might be a case of though. Look, maybe he'll be more. He'll be a lot more up for that though, because it's the next gen stars. You know, these guys. These guys are the guys coming through, and he's competing with them. He's directly competing with them. They're all a similar age as well, so he's probably thinking, mate, you guys are not the best youngsters. I'm the best youngster, and I'm going to make sure I get through. And in fact, I'm going to win a slam. I'm going to be the first one to win a slam. You guys aren't going to win a slam. And actually, that's a good question. That's a question I have for you guys. Who do you think out of the guys coming through? Because Thiem doesn't count, because Thiem really is in his prime years. We're talking about Tsitsipas, we're talking about Zverev, we're talking about Medvedev. Who else? Rublev. We're talking about whoever you want, Shapovalov, Thiem. You know, all these guys, all these youngsters, Sinner, Musetti, you know, Berrettini. Out of all these guys, who do you think is going to win a Grand Slam first? Because one of them has to at some point, right? Like realistically, one of them has to, because you know, Djokovic and Nadal are not going to be around forever. So even if they're 30 years old and they win one, they're definitely going to win one. So, and you'd expect it to be one of that crop. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Who's going to win it first? I don't know what my money would be on, actually. I'll have a think, but you guys let me know what you think actually as well, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it in a second. Right, so 5-1 here, and this is just carnage. Zverev breaking Davidovich again, and Davidovich Fokina is just he's losing it. And I tell you what, it's the biggest thing, the biggest issue I had with him was his mentality in that first set. He got really frustrated with himself, right, when he went back onto serve, because he ruined and completely messed up breaking back twice, and actually, sorry, having a break, being a break up twice, just, you know, was like, I can't believe this. Completely frazzled his brain, and now coming into the second set, he's just struggling at 5-1 now. So this is not a good sign for the Spaniard, and I think the second set is going to be wrapped up pretty quickly. Not really much to tell, to be honest with you. I think it's just a case of Davidovich Fokina hasn't really raised his level in the second set, and Zverev has, and he's found a level which we're more accustomed to seeing him play, and Davidovich Fokina is not able to keep up. And that's been the issue. He caught Zverev a bit cold at the start, broke him in the first game, and then obviously, you know, both guys were struggling to hold serve, and then he was actually a break up twice, as they kept on trading breaks. But Zverev came back into it, and then eventually at 5-4 broke Davidovich Fokina. So yeah. In this second set, though, he's obviously been a lot more solid. I think he's found his first serve more. He's been more consistent on the ground strokes, and Davidovich Fokina, unfortunately, his level has just stayed the same, if not diminished slightly, which is a shame, actually, because, you know, I thought maybe he might make a good go of it here, but the signs are not looking good for Spaniards so far, because we are only 1 hour 10 into this match, and we might wrap this one up. But Davidovich Fokina, to be fair, is 30-15 up on Zverev serve, so he's made a little inroad in here. So let's see how he can do. Shyam says, please give me some serving tips. I always struggle in serving. Okay, so in terms of serving, look, I mean, so our coach as well, and something that we always discuss about serving is making sure your ball toss is correct. So you want to make sure your grip is correct first. So you should be in chopper grip. which is a grip they use for serving and also for volleying. So that's something you need to look up first. Make sure grip's correct because you want to get kick off the ball. You want to be kicking that serve, not hitting it flat pan. You want to make sure that the arc of your toss is into the arc of your swing of your serve. You don't want it to be behind you. You don't want to be coming in towards you, and you don't want it to be just straight up. You want it to be slightly in front of you, so your momentum goes through it. So a good way to make sure that happens is actually by practicing serving volleying. Because your momentum slightly goes forward. You don't want to be too far forward, obviously, because then that opens up foot faults, but that gives you momentum. 6-1 in the second set, wrapped up for Alexander Zverev, the German. So 2 sets to love up, and I cannot see Davidovich Fokina having any success in this third set. I could be wrong. Again, like anything can happen, but I would be very, very surprised. But yeah, that's kind of my very, very brief thoughts on serving, Shyam, if you're struggling. So yeah, go and give it a go. And there's some really, really good videos, obviously on YouTube that demonstrate it as well, in terms of how you should be serving. But practice that and try and be still. Don't jump when you're serving. If you're struggling with your serve, do not jump on your serve. Just to start off with, to make sure you're balanced when you're hitting it. That's what I would suggest as well, and that's what our coach tells us anyway. Has been telling people when, or people who are learning to play. That's what he would tell them. So, yeah, right. Okay, so we're into a third set. Sham says, "Thank you so much. No worries at all. Anytime." I'm really intrigued to see if Davidovich Fokina does have some levels to get through here, because I'm hoping he does. Otherwise, it was a bit of a shame, right? Be a bit of a shame. Let's see if the Spaniard can pick himself up, dust himself off, and actually come again. And well, he's got nothing to lose. 2 sets to love down. May as well just come out swinging. And Justin Hernandez says, "Do you rate Typho?" He's been pretty unlucky, hasn't he, at the French Open? I think, the last 4 years he's lost in 5 sets in the first round of the French Open. So, I don't know. Do I rate him? It's a bit... I mean, he seems like he has talent for sure. He just doesn't... He's too inconsistent for me. And that seems to be a trend in a lot of the younger players, is unfortunately their consistency is just not there. It's just really, really not there. And that to me is just a crying shame, to be honest with you, because these guys are so, so talented. But yeah, they just struggle so much with just finding that balance between aggression and caution. That some of them are just way too aggressive and they're just blasting the ball and they look good for periods, and the next thing you know, they just, unforced errors everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, he's okay. I wouldn't say that he's unbelievable, but yeah. Justin says, "Who's the next British Andy Murray?" Well, we have to wait a whole generation for a British Grand Slam winner, probably, mate. Probably. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, we do not have too many players. I mean, we've got... Obviously, you've got Dan Evans, who is very, very talented, but again, he just doesn't quite... He's not that level, right? He can definitely hang with the big boys, but he can't really... He doesn't seem to progress any more than like the second, third round. We also have who is it? Sorry. We also have what's his face? I've completely forgotten his name. Carl Edmond, sorry. Who was progressing. He was looking pretty good, and then he keeps on getting injured. He just keeps on getting injured, to be honest with you. It's just a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare, because like he was, I think he made, it was the last 16 or quarters of a slam. It was either Australian or US Open, and then after that, it was just like, you got injured. You're like, what? But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Justin says, "I'll just Badine represented Britain just to get papers and then cut straight away." Yeah, 100. That's so funny though. That's actually a classic. That's actually a classic. That is. Just was like, "Yep, don't fancy it. Bye." And to be honest with you, they weren't really treating him too great. I don't think either in terms of just giving him the status he deserves because he's probably the best out of all of them apart from Murray now. Maybe Carl Edmund, but I mean he progressed quite far. I think he got to the third round here of the French Open, so that's a lot further than say someone like Dan Evans. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, we will see. All right, so 15 all here in the first game as David Fokina trying to find some momentum, trying to trying to bring it back into play. So it's just absolutely, I don't know. We're in a point of time now here in this match where Davidovich Fokina needs to really, really grab it by the scruff of the neck now. What's interesting, Lavancio Ramos says he thinks it's going to be a Noel Zverev final. Ooh, you know what? I wouldn't have thought because Djokovic obviously I can see potentially. I mean, I would still edge towards Nadal, but I can see why someone might think not like Novak will get through. But you would back Zverev over Tsitsipas or Medvedev, would you, Lavancio? Which I hope I'm saying your name right. Um, yeah, that would be. I would be surprised if that happens, but it'd still it'd be a good matchup because Zverev. I mean, Zverev has beaten Djokovic before. Um, you definitely back Djokovic, though, wouldn't you? Zverev is just. I mean, this is. Darius Rakina is definitely up against it. 2 break points now here for Alexander Zverev, and this is just absolute carnage to say the least. It really, really is. Right, so 40-15 on Darius Fokina's serve, and a lot better from the Spaniard. From the German even in this last hour or so. He's just found his feet, been a lot more solid, and the serve hasn't deserted him like it did at times in the first set, and that's just meant that he's been a lot better for sure. Now we're just gonna see as Darius Fokina does manage to save at least one of the break points, but 40-30 here. Well, it's going to be tough going for the Spanish player. Right. This is just crazy, though, isn't it? Because you're talking about, Darius Fokina, has he come out of nowhere? Not really. I mean, he's been around for a bit of time, but out of the Spaniards, he looks pretty solid. I was thinking actually, which country's got the strongest kind of players, and I think it probably is Russia, right? With Medvedev, Karatsev, Rublev, those guys, Kachanov as well. Like they're just quality. Yeah. Right. So 40-30 to Zverev. Oh, really good though by Davidovich Fokina. Zverev comes to the net, and then Davidovich Fokina just says, "Nope, nope, nope. Sorry, mate. Sorry, you're not getting past me. And you know what? I'm not going to let you break me either because it's mine. I am not going to make it easy for you." And he's doing a pretty good job here at Juice, though. I think I'm slightly behind. Oh no. Zverev gets the break. Zverev is just a beast though at the moment, genuinely. He really is, isn't he, though? When he turns it on, he is definitely a struggle for anyone. Is Alexander Zverev 100%. I mean, it's just not easy to play. But in saying that, yeah, break up, guys. I want you to let me know. Can the Spaniard get back into this? Does he have any chance? I need to know. I need to know. Because this looks to me like this is going to be an absolute thrashing in the end. The 6-4, you're thinking, oh, you know what, it's not too bad. And then 6-1, now it's a break up in the third set. Alexander Zverev is just crunching the ball a lot better. He's just looks up for it. I mean, he looked really good in the previous match. The previous round, I was really impressed with how he played. And this one, I think I wasn't obviously impressed in the first set, but the second set just came out a lot more solid for me, and definitely found a bit more rhythm. And it seems in this third set as well, he's got his tail up and he's looking to just go for the kill. He's looking to be clinical here. He doesn't want to waste time. I think, look, this is what the best players do, though, right? As well, especially when you get to the business end of a Grand Slam, the quarters, the semis. If you've got an opportunity to just run through someone, you just need to go for it. You save time, you save energy, and you give yourself a better chance of resting then for the next round. You don't want to be switching off and then ending up having to go through a grueling set or even potentially losing a set if you can actually just play a good level and then get through it without many marks and scratches and bruises, which is what Zverev is looking to do here as he goes 30 love up on his serve. So, yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting because I think I'm still thinking on this form, can Zverev beat Tsitsipas or Medvedev in the semi? And I'm still erring on the side of I don't think so, but Lavancio Ramos thinks he can. And look, I don't see why he can't. I think he's definitely got a chance. I would edge towards I'd edge towards the German, but you never know. Justin says Nadal is cheat code when it comes to Roland Garros. He is, isn't he? He's just ridiculous. I mean, he seems like he is cheat code, to be honest with you, which is it's a bit unfair, to be honest. Justin says hopefully someone can do a soloing and beat him. Oh, don't say that. Come on, it's my boy. It's my boy Rafa, Justin. Come on. Allow that. Allow it. No, it's funny though. No, I get it though. I can see why if you don't support Rafa Nadal, you're just like, can he stop winning the French Open? Because to be honest with you, that was me. That was me with Federer at Wimbledon. So Federer just used to win it. I mean, I remember Andy Roddick. Oh my gosh, Andy Roddick used to get absolutely trounced. I think he made the final 2 years in a row, or I think it was twice. 2 years in a row. 2000 and I want to say 2004 or 2005. And then he just got destroyed. I mean, it was just annihilation. And Andy Roddick was obviously a huge server, but really didn't have too much else to his game. I don't think you'd mind me saying that. And a decent forehand, backhand, very, very average. And volleying, decent as well, the net. So he would serve these rockets, but Federer was just, in his heyday, and he would just clean him up. And he'd beat him in straights. And after the second year, Roddick was like, "Look, it's like you owe me a beer because you just won't let me win or something." And he'd only laugh because he was like, "Look, this is just, I keep on getting absolutely demolished." Like you make your way all the way to the final just to get absolutely spanked. And he just was like, "What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?" But yeah, in terms of like giving someone else a go, nah, I don't feel like it. I can see what you mean though, because when Nadal came, that's why actually I fell in love with Nadal, because when he came into the fray in 2006. He made that final. He lost in straight sets, but he had something about him. He came in his vest, and he thought, "Oh, he's giving Federer some problems here." And he beat him in the French Open as well before that. So you're thinking, "Oh, okay, he might be able to do something here." Then in 2007. He lost in 4 sets, and you're thinking, okay, hold on, he's improving. He's taken a set of Federer, right? And you know what, this kid is good. And then obviously in 2008, though, they had that epic where it went to 5 sets and he won. And I was rooting for him as soon as he made that final in 2006. I was like, "You're my man. Come on, do it for me. Stop the Federer monopoly." And that's probably how people feel about Nadal, even more so because he's won it so many times, the French Open. But Davidovich Fokina just broken back Zverev. Zverev's level just dropped a little bit there, obviously. He's fallen asleep in that service game. He's been broken to love as well. Um, but yeah, the only reason why I wouldn't, you know what? I don't mind if Nadal wins it this year, gets to 21, right? Gets the most Grand Slams, and then next year someone else can win it, fine. But then Djokovic cannot win a single more Grand Slam. I'm just joking. He'll probably win flipping Wimbledon in the US Open, knowing him. Justin says it's only fair that somebody else gets a go. I don't know. That's not sport, though, is it, man? It's not life, unfortunately. The harsh reality of life is if you're not good enough, you're not going to win. Simple as that. And these guys are getting a harsh lesson in what life is like. These younger generation of tennis players, because they've grown up in a generation where you've got Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and Murray as well. At some point, these guys are just serial winners, and they've had such longevity, especially Nadal and Djokovic and Federer, and they're just not letting people have a chance, right? So this generation coming through are thinking, you know what? Back in the day, you had Nadal could come through and he beat like someone who they probably think is an unknown in his first ever French Open final, right? And you're just thinking, you know what? Yeah, man, like, you know, we could do this. And the next thing you know, these guys are just getting crunched, and you're like, what? And like, they're like Djokovic and Nadal are still playing that they are, 25, and they're thinking, why are we in this generation? Because if we were in a different generation, then we would have won a Grand Slam like like Nadal, right? Right, okay, here we go. So Ariel says, I see stats and think I can do this. Mate, you know what? Or yeah, lad or ladder, I completely agree, to be honest with you, because I see some of these stats where I'm like 50% first serve percentage. I have days when I'm like, 70, 75. I can get my serve up to like 120 miles per hour, right? Probably not. I wish. I don't know. I've never actually had my serve speed gunned in the last few years, actually. I would like to, because I like to see how quick it is. It's one of those things, right, where you think, oh, I'm a gun, I can serve so quick, but realistically, it's probably like 80 miles an hour. And I'm like, great. Like, or maybe if I'm lucky, it's like touching 100 miles an hour. But anything above that, I'm like, it's not happening. And that's probably if I'm just serving like full out, like not really much kick on the serve as well, just flattening it out. I don't know. We'll see. And 40 love up here for Zverev. And sorry, I was completely wrong. He didn't break to love. He held to love Davidovich Fokina. I was thinking, what am I talking about? I misspoke there. Lavantia Ramos says Zverev is by far a better player than Medvedev. Thiem, Tsitsipas, or anyone else. Has better strokes. This match he is playing alone. He won the points, he lost the points. Always been like this. It's an interesting one. So I think what you're saying is, Lavantia, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're saying that Zverev has the better skill set and potential of these other guys in terms of like Tsitsipas, Thiem, Medvedev, etc. He's got the better fundamentals and he's got a higher ceiling, is what I'm hearing. But the reason why he will lose matches or lose points is actually just because he's his own worst enemy at times, right? Like, for example, he'll get the yips on the serve, or he'll break down because mentally, he'll break down. Well, that's what I'm gaining from that. And to be honest with you, I can see where you're coming from. The one thing I'd say is, I don't know, Tsitsipas. I think maybe Tsitsipas is slightly mentally stronger. Is that fair, though? But skill set wise, maybe not as good. Same with Medvedev as well, maybe. I think Medvedev is really, really strong mentally. But skill set wise, maybe Zverev is slightly better. I feel like when Zverev pieces it together, I feel like maybe he is the better player. But that's when he does piece it all together, which is not so often. So yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Guys, Ariel as well. Lavancio, thank you very much for tuning in. If you guys haven't already, please do remember to like this video and, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it. It just helps the channel to grow and get this video out there as well so that we can have more people in the chat saying that Zverev is by far the better player and to giving your opinions as well on the French Open, like Nadal shouldn't win it. What blasphemy. No, I'm joking. I'm only joking. Really good exchange here, though, backhand to backhand. But Davidovich Fokina can only go long with a backhand cross court, and he looks exasperated, and he's has to save 2 more break points here now at 40-15 down on his serve. And this could really be curtains. And I kind of want him to be put out of his misery because he just looks absolutely miserable on court, does Davidovich Fokina. We're only 1 hour 30, but it looks like he's been on court for like 3 hours. He doesn't look like he wants to be there really, and not in like a he's giving up, but more just mentally he looks broken, and he does get broken on serve because he's just netted a forehand and he does not look in a good place. 4-1, 2 breaks up. Alexander Zverev is cruising this one. And he'll be rubbing his hands together. You know why? Because he's probably thinking, I really hope Tsitsipas versus Medvedev goes to 5 sets. They play for like 4 or 5 hours. And when I play them, they're completely, worn, torn, and battered and bruised. And I just come fresh and, I can just blow them away. That's what he'll be thinking. So this is a very professional performance in the end by Alexander Zverev. So really, really good stuff from the German. Really, really impressive. So let's see if he can close it out now, which I'm sure he will be able to do because when he's got his tail up, I feel like when he's in front, Zverev, he's normally quite good, as are most tennis players, to be fair, but some are extremely good from behind. I don't feel like he's one of them, and I could be wrong. I'm sure there's some stats for that, and maybe someone will tell me, you know what, Fazan, you're absolutely wrong. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about, but from what I've seen, that's kind of how it goes. I've been impressed overall as well with I think I've just been impressed with how Zverev has gone about this in the second and third set because he's not just taking advantage of, oh, okay, you know what, I'm winning here. Let's just kind of go through the motions. He's actually thought, I need to kind of get through this, but get through this quickly, professionally, give myself the best possible opportunity to get as much rest as possible as well, and make sure that I'm fresh for what will be a very, very important semi-final and a huge semi-final, right? I mean, if he wins the next game and then the semi and final, like he's going to be playing against either Tsitsipas or Medvedev, and most likely either Nadal or Djokovic. So, yeah, I mean, this is huge for Alexander Zverev, and this is definitely a game where he needs to take advantage and not take it long, and that's exactly what he's doing because he's not going to get any so-called easy matches like this, which I think is a bit unfair to Davidovich Fokina. But in saying that, he hasn't really. I don't think he's given the best account of himself today, anyway, as the Spaniard. Right, Zverev at 15 all here, and on his serve. Right, so. Oh, big backhand from the German. Just opens up and pings that backhand winner. So 6 back. Oh my god, big serve down the tee as well on the ad side. Really, really big stuff from the German, and yeah, really impressive. As I said, I've just been impressed overall with how he's done. Just not got the yips, which again, I don't think he would have much nerves being 2 sets to love up, to be fair. Comes in with the drive volley, and this time he doesn't miss like he did in that second set. Puts it away with power and precision, and he's 5-1 up here and only 1 game away. Yeah, really, really good. Oh. Well, there we go. Right, 15 love to Davidovich Fokina here. So a nice little point for him. He'll be happy with that, won't he? Guys, as well in the chat, thank you very much for tuning in. Please do remember to like this video. It does help the channel to grow and, of course, get this video out there. And, of course, subscribe if you haven't already, which I'm sure most of you have done so already. I think most of you have done so already anyway, from what I can see. This is just pride, isn't it, really, for the Spaniard now? Can he just hold his serve here and make Zverev serve for the match? And Zverev with an absolute rocket of a forehand return. This is an absolute rocket, flipping it. Second serve from the Spaniard. Runs around the backhand and absolutely crunches this forehand into that forehand down the line. Really impressive from the German. And we know he's got that. And I think that's another one. That's 30-15. Zverev crunches the cross-court forehand. Ariel says, come on, Fokina, I bet $1 on you. You're going to lose that $1, Ariel. I'm sorry. As Davidovich Fokina tries to go backhand cross-court, but misses it. So we have 3 set and match points here, and probably great timing after Ariel's comment, because that £1, you're never going to see that again, I don't think. Zverev crunches the backhand down the line. That is really, really good from the German in the last 2 sets. I have to say, this set especially, yes, Davidovich Fokina wasn't playing well. I understand that, but he has improved as the game's gone on, the match has gone on. He'll know he cannot start off that slowly against the likes of Tsitsipas and Medvedev in the next round. But in saying that, doesn't matter, because he's in the semi-finals. That's the most important thing. And he's got the tools and the weapons to be a big, big danger to the rest of the draw going into the semis now here. Really impressive performance, though, it has to be said, against an underwhelming opponent in the Spaniard, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. I think he was quite good in the start of that first set. Fell away massively. And I think to be honest, it was a similar pattern to Sinner yesterday against Nadal, to be honest with you, where we had competitive tennis for the first half, first 3/4 of a set, and then Sinner just fell away, and that's exactly what happened to Davidovich Fokina, which I've been it's disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. Shall we look at the stats? I think we may as well, right? Let's have a look at the stats. Right, so should we look at it from set? Yes, actually, let's look at it set by set. So we looked at set 1. Set 2, I'm interested. So 2 aces for Zverev, and then let's have a look. Did his first serve percentage slightly higher? But first serve points 1, that was a big difference, of course. Look at that. Only 2 unforced errors, though, from Zverev in a whole set. 2 unforced errors, 6 winners, 4-13 for Davidovich Fokina. That is the biggest stat for that set 2. And set 3, if we look at it, first serve percentage up to 79%. Now, that is where you can see that Zverev is now obviously found his rhythm and his confidence. He's 2 sets to love up, and he's let's fly that first serve. 91%, only lost 1 point behind that first serve in the third set. And then if we look at the winners and unforced errors, 13-3, so only 5 unforced errors in the second and third set in total. That's really impressive from him. Really good, and compared to 4-7 winners and unforced errors for Davidovich Fokina. So you can see. Look, I mean, the top players, their winners are always exponentially higher than their unforced errors. And this is actually a very professional performance in that second and third set from from the German player. And if we look at the match summary, if we look at the statistics for the whole match, I think it's probably the more important one. So obviously that 55% is a bit misleading to a degree, because yes, he didn't serve well in that first and then that second set as well. But the third set, he served a lot better, got away with it as well. But the biggest thing for me, you look at the double faults column, those 3 double faults came in the first set. But after that, no more. First serve percentage rose throughout all 3 sets. It was 91% in that third set. Only lost 1 point behind that first serve. 76% of first serve points won, so improved it. But compared to 48% for the Spaniard, even though he had a higher first serve percentage, it's just not really a weapon for him. And the second serve percentage, 31%. I mean, it's poor. It's poor. Something that obviously he needs to work on, I would say. And the unforced error count is just too much for someone like at this level anyway. 37 unforced errors compared to 16 for Zverev, 24 winners for Zverev, 16 for Davidovich Fokina. It's definitely not Zverev's best showing, for sure. But what I would say is that he definitely grew into it, and I think he will be a threat to Tsitsipas or Zverev in the semi-finals. The only thing I would point out is that I think Zverev definitely needs to start off quicker. I think he was too slow in the start, for sure. And I think it's definitely something that he will look at and say, you know what, I can't afford to do that in the next round, but I've got through and I need to carry on the form that I had in that third set and probably start around about that level in the first set against those guys. So really, really professional performance from Zverev. Some promising signs there as well. And I think the biggest thing is that he got through in straight sets. He overcome a slightly kind of awkward player in Davidovich Fokina, especially in that first set. Overcome the drop shots, the slices, etc., and made him then go on the back foot. Didn't let him dictate. And the big German, big serving and big hitting German. And that's a bit harsh. I think he's a very good all-round player. Is Alexander Zverev? It's through to the semi-finals, so very interesting to see how he will do against either Stefanos Tsitsipas or Daniel Medvedev. Guys, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I really, really do appreciate it. Please remember to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button as well if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate the support. It's been amazing seeing how many people have been coming on the live streams the last few days as well. Liking the video just helps the channel to get out there and grow. Same with subscribing. And of course, click the notification bell as well to get alerted to all new videos. I probably will not be doing Medvedev Tsitsipas, as enticing as that will be. I'll definitely be watching. If I do a live stream, I will put, obviously, I'll set it up so you guys can have a look as well. Obviously, click the notification bell as well to get alerted if it is going to be happening. But I should be doing one of the quarterfinals tomorrow. Most likely Nadal and Schwartzman, because my boy, but not just because of that, but because of the timing as well. Of course, there's Djokovic Berrettini tomorrow as well, which again, the timing, I think that's going to be at 8 o'clock. It's just not fantastic. So I think Nadal Schwartzman might be the one that I will go for. But yeah, let's see how the semi goes later on. Hopefully, it's a tighter one. This one, obviously, a bit one-sided in the end. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Stay safe, stay well. I'll see you on the next stream. And of course, make sure you keep an eye out for the day's roundup as well, which I'll be doing in the evening after the day's play, after that Tsitsipas Medvedev match. I'll be releasing a video rounding up the day's play, giving my thoughts on it as well. Very briefly, they're very short videos. They're kind of 9-10 minutes maximum going over the day's play. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.